What about you individually? How do you feel so far, and what do you think could help unlock your run game?
Definitely feel like this year has been we're a little behind. We're only 2 games in, but definitely been behind. Definitely left some plays out there, and it's more to be made out there. So just got to get it going and take it game by game.
Mike talked about the timing with the blocker. Can you expound more about getting the timing and with the running game with the blocker?
Yeah, that was as far as us pressing our tracks, keeping it pressing, getting the linebackers to flow. Maybe if it's like another step or two, just something like that to help the blocks be set better for the linemen up front. I think we've been pressing it, cutting it back a little too early on some runs, but that's what it's all about.
You talked last week about how it's different not being in there all the time and taking the hits and kind of getting warmed up that way to the game. Rico was talking the other day about how the vision part of it is an adjustment to getting a flow with that. Can you talk about that?
I think the biggest thing is you can't press. You know what I mean? You can't go chase the big play. You gotta play. You have to approach the game the same, like you're gonna get 20 touches. You know what I mean? Like you can't be like, okay, I only got 10 this weekend, so I gotta make the most of them. Like you gotta let the game come to you. So I think that's the biggest thing, just not trying to press and just kind of letting that game come to you.
Is that easier said than done, though? I mean,
way easier said than done.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's your girl Star, and today we are going to talk about what you just heard Rico and Zeke talking about in those clips, and that is how the running back room, specifically Rico, has been struggling with his ball carrier vision, and struggling with things as far as like patience and allowing his blocks to be set up in order to get more efficient runs. So let's get into it. So when reviewing the film, one of the first things I noticed about Rico is that he doesn't want to smoke. And what I mean by he doesn't want to smoke is he does not want to go through defenders and take on contact. You can see here, I've clearly laid out the running lane here that's pretty much perfectly blocked up. I mean, all Rico here has to do is go through 58, and he easily picks up 5, 6, 7 yards here, maybe even more if he forces a missed tackle by 58. But what you're going to see is instead of going through the hole, Rico is going to choose to go around Jalen Tolbert, and a play that should have been about 5+ yards is going to end up resulting in a negative gain. And so as we run it here, we can see, just as I said, Rico avoiding the hole, and instead of going through the hole, we end up losing a yard here. And so this is one of the things, or one of the reasons why I believe that we are not using Rico how he should be used. Now, here's another run. I have the running lane pretty much blocked up here. You can see Terrence Steele's got his block. Zach Martin is going to be able to make his way to 41 and block him. But let's see what Rico does here. So instead of running through the gap behind Zach Martin, you see Rico here completely avoids the gap and ends up running himself into about 3 Giants defenders, resulting in a 1-yard gain. Now, as we transition here, I want to do a direct comparison between Rico and Zeke to show you guys what the run should look like. So as we have Zeke here, we can see that we have a pretty good run lane that is opening up here, right behind Tyler Guyton. Cooper Beebe and Tyler Smith do a phenomenal job pushing Dexter Lawrence off the ball. And then we have our guy Jake Ferguson in here coming to be the lead blocker. And we can see with just a simple jump cut from Zeke, we end up getting a 5-yard gain there. That's how it's done. Now, as we transition to this next clip, this is a play that I was so mad at Dak about, because you can clearly see that if Dak hands this ball off in this, it seems like they're running a triple option. Zeke would be gone for days. Everything is blocked up perfectly, but instead we end up getting no gain here because of a mental blunder by Dak. I think he got confused, as we can see here. I think this guy, he expected him. He jumped inside like he was going to chase the running back, but he was really uncontained. So it's okay, Dak. I'll forgive you. Now, this was a run by Rico that made me extremely upset. As you can see, I've highlighted here the ginormous running lane that the offensive line has created. We have Terrence Steele blocking off 0. Then you have Zach Martin and Cooper Beebe blocking off Dexter Lawrence. Cooper Beebe looks like he's about to make his way to 58. And instead of Rico running through that lane, he chooses to avoid it altogether and run behind Terrence Steele and Jalen Tolbert. Now, you might say, Star, he still got 5 yards here. Yeah, he got 5 yards, but this is the difference between an okay running back and an elite running back, because an elite running back or a running back with better vision would have been able to take that type of play to the house. Now, this is a play I'm showing because I do want to be fair here. Rico can run between the tackles, right? We're going to see here he runs behind Tyler Smith and Cooper Beebe, who do another phenomenal job pushing Dexter Lawrence about 5 yards off ball. This wasn't a hard read for Rico because he knew, hey, just follow them through the hole. That's where my success is. He ends up getting a 6-yard gain. The issue is when Rico doesn't have an easy answer, like, hey, I just follow this double team through the space because there's no other lane for me to go through. What happens when he has to choose? Oh yeah, he consistently makes the wrong decision. And unfortunately, as the number 1 running back, the team is counting on you to be able to have the right vision to make the right decision. Now, as we look at this clip, Rico seems to be doing a pretty good job, right? Things are blocked up. But he ends up only getting a 5-yard gain here because he's tackled from the back by an eager safety. Now let's see how Zeke does this exact same run. As we can see here with Zeke, this is literally the exact same run and everything's blocked up to Zeke's left. But look at that same safety making a business decision, and instead now Zeke has to be tackled by a defensive tackle because that safety doesn't want to come up and tackle Zeke because Zeke brings the pain, not the other way around. Now let's see what happens in this next run here by Zeke. So we can see here, Zeke clearly has 2 lanes that he can go through. And we got a linebacker making a business decision. You want to know why? Because he doesn't want to tackle Zeke. And then we have Dexter Lawrence splitting the double team between Cooper and Zach Martin. But guess what? Zeke still gets 2 yards here. If that was Rico, that would be no gain. Now, this is a clip I wanted to show of Rico because, again, it's not that Rico cannot run between the tackles. He can run between the tackles and occasionally he can have good vision, but the issue is we need Rico to have good vision all of the time, not some of the time. Now, as we look at this run, let's see what Rico does. So, looks like things were blocked up here, and there is a clear crease right behind Tyler Guyton. But what does Rico do? Avoids that crease, instead cuts the run back, and ends up cutting the run back into 4 Ravens defenders. And then this play ends up getting a holding call because the tight end is trying to prevent the run from being no gain. And then we look at this run, and what happens here? Linebacker sitting and waiting in the hole, which limits this run to just a 2-yard gain. Now we watch a run by Zeke, which it seems that the line is running a power concept. And what does he do? Throws a body blow at the Ravens defensive tackle and ends up getting a 4-yard gain. So you might be thinking right now, okay, so what the hell is Rico good at? And I'm glad you asked. I think that how we use Rico should be exactly how we used Tony Pollard up until last season, which is pitch it out to him in space. Get Rico in space. That's the type of physical runner he is. He's not like Zeke where he's going to throw a body blow at you, right? He's not exactly like Tony Pollard who was super finesse. He's a hybrid of both. So why not use him in these space concepts? You can see his ability to break tackle and then also lay some physicality at the end, which helps us get an 8-yard gain. Here's Rico on a toss play, right? Wow, look at that. Don't worry, guys. We're gonna show it. We're gonna show a different view. But this is how we should be utilizing Rico, getting him into space, letting him stiff arm people into hell. You understand what I'm saying? For a 6-yard gain. That's what we need to be doing. Oh, also, didn't he just score a touchdown last game on a screen play? Yes, he did. That's how we should be using Rico, getting him out into space. We don't want Rico having to make the decisions on which hole to go to, which way to press. You know what I'm saying? How to be patient and set up his blocks, because that's not his game, right? But look at this. This is Rico catching the screen ball one-handed, sifting his way through traffic and getting us a freaking touchdown. So is Rico trash? Absolutely not. We're just not using him correctly. So guys, I hope this video helped you realize that 1, Rico struggles with vision when running between the tackles. 2, he's also not a very physical runner between the tackles. 3, he still is a physical runner, but he's a physical runner outside of the tackles. So yes, you've been seeing struggles. Yes, our run game has been struggling, but it hasn't been struggling, I don't think, because we don't have the talent. It's been struggling because we are not using the running backs in the room correctly. I believe that if we can start using the running backs how they are supposed to be used, we will start to have better success in the running game. Y'all could see in the clips that our line has been blocking a lot better. We simply just need to put the running backs in the right position to be successful.
Like that boy is a cat, like he say that I'm good enough, got my think about shit that I shouldn't have. So I tell him it's one of me, he making fun of me. His girl is a bum to me. Like that boy is a cat, saying he home but I know where he at. Like, but he blowing her back. Think about me cause he know that it's fat. Shake it down, and it been what it been. 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 Like that boy is a cat. Like that boy is a cat. Like that boy is a cat. Like that boy is a cat.